We're live.
Hello.
I'll wait for some people to start watching, I guess.
Yeah, so we're live, but no one.
Yeah. I might as well just get started because people are watching afterwards.
True.
Hello and welcome to the GBHL podcast. You're here with your host GBHL Jamie.
And GBHL Harry.
And we're here for Speak Friend and Question 145.
Woohoo.
Live on Facebook. Not on
Hey.
Facebook, on YouTube.
Hey.
We expect hopefully one person's watching.
Hello, friend.
Hello.
Who are you?
We'll get into it and get started with the questions. If you're watching along, be sure to ask questions as well, and we'll get to yours at the end.
Yeah.
But we're going to start things off with Wah.
Wow.
He says, great episode and fantastic guest. Thank you to Andreas and Stig for coming over to Desolation of Stockport and playing along and taking part in Speak Friend and Question last time. This week I made loop history as I'm writing this from the UK. Welcome. Are you still here? Have you gone home? Question, Army List bonus rules. What a great addition that was to There and Back Again.
Yeah.
However, and there is always a however with gamers, I felt that some factions missed the mark. The idea should be a risk and reward system. With Dale, Azos Hunters and Radagast Alliance to include allies is a huge decision as you're losing out on a tasty army bonus.
Agree.
Yet by staying as a single faction, you're really limiting your in-game options due to lack of options from that single list. Yet sadly, this is not the same for some of the other factions, so you're still free to choose allies freely for no disadvantage. What are your thoughts?
So we discussed this, didn't we? So
Yeah.
saying, while certain lists have not got all of their components available yet,
Yeah.
we're not seeing such pure lists.
Like the Iron Hills.
Yeah, so I think until the crossbows come out and people have all the models with the goat riders and things like that, and then the mounted hero. Oh no, I suppose it's only Dane, isn't it? And the captains.
Dane the captains, yeah. But the crossbow is the big one for that list to be sort of
Yes,
fleshed out and made into something that you want to take as a pure, rather than
very much so.
going from champions of Erebor because you get the better heroes.
Yeah.
Do you prefer going forward? Do you prefer army bonus rules to be suitably tasty to make alliances a bitter choice to make, or are you happy with the current level of army bonuses? So on the whole, I think the army bonuses are fine.
Yeah.
They're not game breaking, but they do reward you to take a pure force.
Yeah.
And I think going forward they should stay at that sort of level.
Yes, because there's none that are game breaking out there. There's none that are thinking, oh, that's too powerful. We're not seeing a certain, like a lot of choice, common choice of one army as opposed to others.
Yeah.
Do.
So yeah, happy with the current level war.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Philip Curran.
Okay, hello. I have no idea if this is right, but in my mind, Spilforingen is pronounced Spilforeningen. And Andreas has said yes, correct, barring the first part. Spill is in spill. It should be pronounced like SP.
I think like Spartacus.
Yes. So
Spilforingen.
Oh, very nice.
Spilforingen.
It just makes me laugh every time James says it. Oh, hello, Edward. He says, smells like Team England.
Yeah.
Represent. Well, I suppose we haven't shown our other video yet. So these are our shirts now for the weekend. Splash the back.
Go on, show Team England off.
Team England. Oh.
Next up, we've got Dat Pro Adam.
That pro.
He says, thanks for the heads up. Just managed to buy some ferals from someone selling on eBay, but only bought 3 models as they were being sold for £65 per set of 3. I'll check out the trading group as you mentioned though. Oh, don't buy them at that price.
No.
You're facilitating sales of stupid prices.
Mm.
Just don't buy them, and then people will drop the price because no one's buying at that high level.
Hopefully so. Do you think, because I don't know, when last year when we started with the re-releases of things, so the Hobbit range started coming out, and they re-released a few sets of Lord of the Rings stuff, and particularly the sort of release things that had quite a high value. So like the Shade was a big one, because they were going for 50 quid at a time, whereas now
they're available again.
Which is good. Do you think Ferals might fall in a category?
I think Ferals will come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Another one I was thinking of, because he still goes for stupid prices, Gildor and Glorin.
Gildor and his, I think he'll come back. Definitely.
Though it's been a while. I know they've released a few odd packs, so they released like the Weathertop Hobbits in Aragon, didn't they?
I guess it's just going to be at events.
Yes,
probably.
Yeah, it's quite cool. Keep them going.
Oh, poor connection. Hopefully it's fine.
Oh.
Next up is David Murphy.
Okay, so charging wargs, felwargs. Felwargs that are unridden definitely shouldn't get the full cavalry bonus. Maybe if they charge a man-sized model on foot and wind, they knock it down to the ground maybe. So in the last Speak for Any question, they talked about should wild wargs and fell wargs get charge bonuses.
Oh, okay, I don't think they should get. No, I agree there. If they were to get anything, maybe knocked to the ground, just because they are such hulking things.
Yes.
But
or maybe even if they win the fight, maybe a +1 to wound, but not knocked to the ground.
Yeah.
Something that's not going to change and make them become too powerful.
Yeah.
Because they're still incredibly versatile. They've got strength 4. They've got the 10-inch movements.
Yeah.
The fell wargs don't need line of sight to charge. They've still got a lot of bonuses.
Oh yeah.
And the fell wargs you can take as a warband on their own as 6.
Yeah, that's a good point. Someone just commented, I missed who it was, saying that surely Mounted Aragorn is one we want to see coming back.
Yes.
Because he's only available from the
Wild
attack.
Yes. True.
And yeah, you want him on horse if you're taking him. So
yes.
yeah, he should definitely come back. Thanks for the comment, whoever that was. Next up, we've got James's Miniature Space. He says, back in the loop this week because I can rarely watch the live shows. So live shows for us are a little bit easier because the editing of a Speak Friendly question it's a bit more work, whereas this is auto-edited and is pretty much the content that we would normally do. There's very little cut and editing we actually do besides trimming the front and the back. So these are actually really easy for us, and we can obviously interact a little bit with the community as well whilst we're doing it. So hopefully you're still enjoying them. James's Miniature Space says, I'm still working on my Angmar list and I'm trying to keep my model count low because honestly, the fewer models to move, the better. Fair point.
Yeah.
Inspired by Azog's tactics in Battle of the Five Armies, I'm thinking of showing my trolls at the front to absorb both fire. I figure that even if I lose a troll or two, it will have a much lower impact on my breaking point than a wall of orcs and much less effort to move.
It's a fair point.
So the question is this a really stupid idea, and how many trolls is too many at the golden 700 to 800 points?
So if you go in pure Angmar,
Yeah.
so I think you're talking about your necessities first. You want your Witch King.
Yeah, you want Witch King of Angmar.
And you want to spend a few points on him.
Yeah. He said below that the guaranteed models in the list, because he loves the theme,
Okay,
are 12 Spectres, 1 Shade, 2 Barrow Whites, 380 points so far, and probably 1 or 2 generic Wraiths, so he's at 490 points. So I'm already dealing with a very low but very potent model count. Thoughts? So the combat's weak so far.
Yes, and the thing is, you've got a Shade, and for the Shade you need combat troops.
Yeah,
you
need chaff horde.
Yes, you need someone that's going to get a benefit too.
And
Spectres are great, but I feel 12 is a lot.
It's very, very heavy on them.
You just might be able to move your opponent's models, but you're not necessarily going to do stuff with them. I suppose they're not in the fight, which is good for you because you can manage your numbers, but also you're not then killing those.
Currently there's no army. It's just 12 Spectres, a Shade, 2 Barrow Whites and 2 Wraiths. Yeah,
so 4 and then you want to put your trolls in before troops.
Yeah.
I'd be tempted to half the Spectres at 6, because 6 is still a lot.
I think 4 is enough, personally.
Suppose in combat they can be pretty useful, and then with the Shade it gives them a bit of protection in combat.
I guess.
They win on courage, don't they?
But if you're putting trolls in there, and then the cave trolls are the trolls available to Angmar. They're 80 points a pop, so that'd be 160. You'd be looking at sort of 650 points if you get 2 trolls in there. I don't think you've got an army to back that up.
I know. I like the components.
James is watching currently.
Oh, brilliant! So we're only that's good that you managed to catch a live one. So well done.
Yeah.
So we're only trying to be constructive here in terms of how we feel we can make it most effective. With your barrow weights, I just feel if you have 2, that's 100 points, and if you then play ring wraiths, they might not do anything.
Or Legolas shoots them.
Yeah.
I think the thing with Angmar is that you need a horde of cheap orcs to go along with it. So what 4 Spectres is 60 points is 10 orcs with gear. So if you were to drop that down to 4, you then free up 30 orcs.
Yeah, true. And then I think you go for your double wraith, but I'd drop a barrow and then go 1 generic wraith and then maybe 1 as a Witch King.
Yeah.
Because you've got a general then you've also got another wraith sort of to be a pain. I think then you've almost got enough to put in maybe 30 orcs and maybe a troll or 2, because I know your original point was talking about having the trolls.
Yeah, but he also doesn't want many models, which doesn't help my 30 orc thing. But
yes. But then I think the thing, if you go in cave trolls, which you would be from Angmar, I think a combination of them with the orcs, I wouldn't necessarily put them on the front, because I think when it gets to combat...
You want them to go in and hurl.
Exactly, and they win the fights on 5s then because of the Shade.
Yeah.
They can hurl, causing then your troops to charge the models on foot, you're winning the fight on 6s, and then you get that double strikes bonus.
Yeah.
I think that's quite a good combination. You got your Wraiths and your Barrow 8 to shut down heroes, then you've got enough troops still with your trolls to deal with troops. have a little jiggle about. Maybe while you're live now, have a go at writing a list, and and we can talk about that afterwards. No problem.
Yep. Next up, we got Matt M.
Okay. Hello. What was your favourite model to assemble and paint? What was your least favourite model to assemble and paint?
Fatty Bolger. The assembly was great, and the painting was mwah.
What about the Golden King?
No.
Not like that one.
Didn't like that. I still don't like that. I don't like that he's not one piece. It was 3 pieces is fine, but the fact that he's not on like a 40mm base, I've not glued him to his guys for shenanigans.
For shenanigans, no comment on it.
No comment.
Maybe after next week.
Yeah, maybe after next week.
Yeah.
But I think he should be on a 40mm base, and then you have a set area for him.
Yes.
But yeah, building him is a bit of a pain. The model I've least enjoyed painting and building is Birder, because he does not want to glue.
The old metal, isn't it?
It's pain. Wow, Jamie's got a lot more handsome. James. Oh.
James
has got a lot more handsome.
I'm sure he means you, would you?
No, I think it was you.
You've had the trim.
Yeah. So yourself?
Some of the old metal like Birder. I remember the Trebuchet and Treebeard years ago when I tried to put them together. Metal kits. I think now I'm a bit more experienced, I could do a better job. But they were a nightmare. They were so fiddly to try and put in together.
Yeah.
And then you put them together, so like a Trebuchet and like the Siege Blisters.
Flick them.
Yes. And I don't even realise, wow, I should have painted these separate and then glued them together, because the amount of gluing and then the super glue can often change the paint quality. It leaves white on it sometimes.
The white drying. Someone just said they hated building Shelob.
Ed's here. Ed, do you like that? I've never constructed Shelob.
The metal dragon with wings for a paint to attach. Yeah, I have rebuilt my dragon plenty of times and hate that thing. The tail always seems to fall off, and I ended up having to pin it, which I hate pinning.
Yes, I know.
I hate
it's a good process,
to do
but
this more than
tedious,
just
the sticking and
gluing. Plastic all the way.
One that I really enjoyed.
Fatty Bolger. Shelob, absolute nightmare, Ed says.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Thanks, Ed.
Vanquish's Saruman was horrible to assemble.
Yes. Oh, I've got him. Oh, I don't even know what to do. Yes, I've got the exact same thing. I put him in pieces. I thought, right, I need to iron that out. So I'll heat it up so it's, because the staff's like this, completely mixed up, and then I've not even attempted to put it together. So yeah, I agree. Some of the fine cast ones, when they're misshaped from the start, are difficult. Or for Gulliver from Andreas.
Gulliver, not fun to paint. I don't imagine it would be. It feels like a more fantasy model than Lord of the Rings.
And again, putting it together, it's that heavy metal model. Is it fine cast now or still metal?
I think he went fine cast.
Right, well, imagine in metal he would have been a pain because of the weight.
Yeah. Right, so we'll move on to the next one.
Yeah.
We've got a good response there. In regards to frequency of games as a parent, so I guess this is for James. You're about spot on. I must say that as my son reached about 18 months and on, missing time became more of a big deal to me. So yeah, you want to see them grow. So gaming can take a back seat because that's always going to be there.
Of course, yeah.
I used to do a lot of fishing tournaments on weekends, and those Saturdays with someone who can now talk to you and loves everything you do become much more important. Yeah.
Yes.
Like, kids are going to see you as this like perfect human, and I guess you want to spend time with them and teach them and be there for those early years.
Yeah, very much so.
I still do manage to get about one game a month, however, even with 2 kids in the house. What I often do now is try to have someone over later at night when the kids are asleep for a game. And that makes sense, that you're not impacting their time with you, you're doing it in your own time, making yourself tired for the next day.
Yeah, and it's still good to get that balance. Obviously you want to have all your family time, but you still need to do the things that keep you happy, and you find that balance will work for you.
Next up, we got Stephen Bonner, who hasn't liked or shared anything for like 5 minutes.
What's going on, mate? Happy birthday for yesterday, Stephen.
Oh, happy birthday.
It was yesterday or the day before. So he said, hello again, gents. Mahusive, thank you for such a great time at Desolation of Stockport, and looking forward to catching up soon again. So questions this week as to the loop. Question 1. At the weekend, I was recommended by GBHL Harry, hello, to add bigger threats to my force, which I have an idea on, more on that later. Are there any big threats that are seen to be a must-add? So
Felbeast.
Yes. So people that know, Stephen Bonner has attended tournaments this year since Stirling last year, and has gone for the old school, hoarding out evil to as much as possible for Mordor.
Big Rannon Orc.
Yeah, so he's got 67 ores, and as well as like 24 trackers and things like that. He's gone for all your cheap heroes for the Might, Shaman, like your Gorbag, Shagrat, Grishnak. Straight away you've got your Might bag there. and he still got to 70 models or so. I said to him, I think he's mastered the full size now. Vote Labour.
Yes, he said, is the rugby on? Vote Labour.
Yeah, I'm with it now. So I said to Steve, that he's mastered the horde side of it now. I just think sometimes he needs that bit of extra threat in there.
It's a bit of a punch.
Yes, I think so.
Besides the weight of dice.
So you could do that two ways. I think you go with the dropping in like a shade so that his troops are more effective at killing faster.
Yeah.
Or he drops in like a troll or goes for fell beasts.
But I was listening to shade or two. Yeah, that's what Ed said. That's Ed's advice. Yeah, that's what he said.
There you go. Because then what do? Do you try and combat the shades, or do you try and deal with the mass troops?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? I think fell beast is probably the one.
I think a fell beast. It just gives you that hurl, that ranged threat. You can engage on your terms, and yeah, they're just not a great fun to play against.
And it can also lead troops from Mordor, so you're not necessarily having to dock your numbers or anything like that. Yeah. And it means you also you can drop your fell beast with a warband, so he's not isolated from the start.
Question 2. In an 800 point Isengard force, how many expos are too many or little? So you either go full or you go none.
Yes.
You don't take a few. You either go like as many, like 12 expos, 12 crossbows with Vrasku, or you go none and just go pure combat.
I find crossbows many times they frustrate me no end because they have games where they're just too powerful and it's like you've just wiped your opponent, or times where you've needed to shoot, you've kept back and you've just not done anything with them. Yeah. And it costs you. The other thing that
I've always found crossbows always do good for me. Like they always shoot well. They draw the army in, and then I get to attack with the Feruccas.
Yes. So we both went to an event last year where we took very similar evil force.
The same.
But I think it was the same. And you did very well with yours, and I did crap mine. And I think the only difference was I took pikes on my crossbows, so at least I felt they had a second roll, and it still didn't
help.
No. They just felt like then it were 12 or 13 points per defence 5, which was quite a bit.
James Miniature Space says, my current army list with 12 orcs, Mordor Urukai and 12 something has disappeared.
Gone! We'll come back to it, we promise.
Sorry, missed it. Question 3 from Stephen was, Isengard Scouts or Warriors as theme lists and why? And cheers for the answers. It depends on the theme you're going for. Are you going for the Urukai Scouts or the Urukai like Helm's Deep thing? If you're going Helm's Deep, the Warriors, definitely. Yeah. And if you're going anything else, the Scouts are the better choice.
I think Scouts are appealing to a lot of people as a theme list. I know I wanted them, you did them. And I've seen lots of events, but they just don't do that well. I think
great. It's the Defence 5.
Yes, I think having the option to go to Defence 6 with the Warriors is good. And then dropping Berserkers in and stuff like that. Yeah. Should we maybe do one? I'm just conscious when we're getting a few questions wrapped up on that.
Yeah.
So if they're relevant to what we've discussed recently, we'll come back to it.
Turn that off, that'd be weird, wouldn't it? It's live video on the laptop.
Yeah, it's very weird.
13, 12 watching it. Oh, someone's dropped out. Where are the comments? There they are. So James' Miniature Space says, with my Angmar army, the reason for having so many Spectres is for the striking against courage. For Iron Hills, for example, striking against their courage is equivalent to having strength 8 to strike against their defence 8.
Fair point.
Yeah, I just think that against like a evil army, you're not going to be getting as much benefit from that. I think against elves, you're actually fighting worse because you strike against defence 5 rather than defence 3. And you need troops to be able to stop you. As soon as those Spectres disappear, then the army's gone, basically. Like, there's only 12 warriors currently, so...
The mix is good because I like the idea that maybe if you went for a bit hoardy, you could just throw a Spectre into each fight, and if you know you got them trapped and things like that, you've got those 2 dice to go and wound easier.
Yeah. Next up, we got King Bonsai.
Okay, is it me?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll go. So for this week's scouring of YouTube, King Bonsai has started YouTubing, if that's a word. It is a word. My channel is King Bonsai. It's a strange name to choose. Wonder why. I've been posting hobby and journey vlogs, and I'm working on tactics and bat reps as well. Thank you for the inspiration from Duran's son. You're more than welcome, King Bonsai, and best of luck on YouTube. Don't get disheartened if it doesn't take off immediately, because YouTube is a bit of a slog to get your community going.
Yeah. Who are you waving to?
I was not saying it was good.
I thought you were giving it a wave to.
You're growing the community and you're building
growing.
something up.
Okay, I see.
Next up, we've got Philip Curran.
Okay, since I've already commented, I should. Have you read his comment?
I don't know.
I think since I've already commented, I guess I should ask an actual question. So, have you heard the Song of Joran on YouTube channel Clamavi de Profundis?
No.
Can't say that I had.
No, sorry. I think I got posted in the Great British Shop at the Facebook page, but I didn't watch it because it doesn't work.
No.
David Murphy up next says, I'm 99% sure there are no Iron Hills dwarves with crossbows in the film. I believe the crossbows were just in the concept art. The moment when several Gundabad trolls fell over and died is because of the dwarves throwing spears at them. I got other glimpses of dwarves throwing spears at the trolls during the film.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I can't quite recall them going in. I thought it was a bit of a surprise thing. Maybe it's just to give the army that element of shooting.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it doesn't have to be in the film. If it's in the concept art, that's good enough.
Would you prefer them to have crossbows as a unit choice to take, or have all the Iron Hills dwarves be able to throw the spears?
I would rather they have crossbows if I was using them. If I was against them, I'd rather they have throwing spears.
Yeah, right now the success of throwing spears.
Yeah.
Fair.
Next up, we have Ollie Carter.
Okay, so if Adam Troke came up to you one day and said...
Could you imagine?
Oh my god, I get the tremors. If Adam Troke came up to you one day and said that he's going to let you rewrite the rules of one model that, in your opinion, needs some updating or changing completely, what model would it be? And secondly, what would these new rules be? So the ones we've discussed many times before would be like your Lurtz, your
Lurtz needs his other profile, like a big beastie profile. 3 attacks, 6.
Oh, for sure. You can throw his shield.
Throws his shield and pins the
him.
model in place.
Yeah, that'd be
Can't
cool.
move this turn. You're mobilised.
Others that are not so common that some of us forgot about. I think Elrond. I'd like to see some change to Elrond.
Yeah, Elrond would be good.
Because you just never see him. He's a lot of points and he has got some bonuses.
Yeah.
But I just think he could do with an update.
I had someone say, Morgul Stalkers.
Yeah.
The unit troop from the troop from Mordor. They're just awful. 15 points for an Elven Cloak, defense 4, 2 attacks. It's trash.
Either drop the points, maybe make them a bit better one way or the other.
Yeah. One of the comments here saying it sucks that Elrond has to pay for magic that he almost never uses.
I know. Yeah, he gets that willed and it's just gone.
He's got 3 will and that's it. And like you're like, is it worth the renew? The Nature's Wrath's good.
If he gets to use it.
If he gets to use it.
His defense 6 is a letdown compared to like a lot of things now. His ring's good, probably his best thing.
Yeah. A comment from the live stream is: are you both going to the Scouring of Cheshire and Oricon? I'm definitely going to both.
I'm not going to Oricon because I'm at a wedding, but I've got my ticket for Scouring of Cheshire.
Yeah, I paid for my Cheshire ticket today.
Right.
Secondly, what would these new rules be? So for me, I think Lurtz getting fight 6 and 3 attacks would be mine.
Yeah, and everyone's like an oblivious to pain rule as well.
Yeah, yes.
That'd be cool.
Loses his arm, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's like, I don't care.
So, Ollie Carter, in my opinion, I believe the Balrog needs updating the most.
Yeah.
I would keep him at 400 points and keep his stats and special rules. However, increase his might to 4, 5, or possibly 6. I believe he deserves a lot of might and would hold at least 4 points of might. I'd also increase his movement to 8 or 10 inches because he is huge. He can easily walk faster than any man running.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 1 point of fate, but also for fluff reasons, I believe he should have some major form of weakness to Gandalf or Glamdring to keep it in the Middle-earth lore and movies. What do you guys think? I think 4 might's quite a lot.
Yeah.
I think you don't need any fate on him. He's got 10 wounds.
The only thing whether to have 1 fate just to protect him against a Morgul blade or something like that.
Oh yeah,
just maybe 1 fate.
Yeah. Where's making him immune to instant kill?
Oh yeah, fair.
I think it's,
I always like the idea. I think the Barry's got wings. He should be able to fly. I think 400 points is a lot.
Don't start that off.
I know. Well, it's true. But I think for the Barrowg, if it maybe just 3 might and fly, I think would change him massively because then all of a sudden he can fly. We can do the heroic combat thing. He could be horrific.
Yeah. He'd be the threat that he should be.
Yeah, and then I think for those 2 things personally, I think that's almost enough.
Well, I think almost something like when he's on the table, goblins pass courage.
Yes.
Like they just fight in awe of this thing.
Yeah. But at the same time, they run away.
They run away from him.
Yeah. So there's some bonus like that would be cool.
Yeah. Maybe that's an army bonus from Moria. That
Yeah.
If you take just the Balrog.
Oh, you got a nice comment here.
I know, I saw that. Yeah, King Bonsai says, yes, Elrond needs to be cheaper. Next up, Donkey Kong 0303. He says, I'm newish to the game, so sorry if this is a stupid question. The Beast of Gorgoroth, when it charges, does it use cavalry rules?
Does it impact it as it goes in?
Yeah, it's a monster with sticks. I think it would. I think it counts as a monstrous mount, doesn't it?
I think it does.
Off the top of my head. It's like a mini mummock.
Yeah, and then of course it can hurl and...
Yeah. What would be a good proxy to use as Aeol the Young? A converted captain of Rohan, or...
Converted Erkenbrand, maybe.
Erkenbrand, or Son of Aeol, so you get the armoured horse.
Yeah.
And they've got pureblood steeds.
Yes.
Someone said Ancient Evil -2 to Courage for the Balrog. That'd be quite cool.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Adien says, can supporting models use special strikes or only models in base contact? Only models in base contact can do it.
Yes. This is the one that, so I was talking with someone the other day, so the new Merkwood elves, they've got glaives.
The glaives, yeah.
Can you, when you're spear supporting, can you feint?
No.
Okay. Do you get the Elven Blades bonus rule?
No.
Okay, because you're just using it as a spear.
Because I'm pretty sure the rules said that you may use it as an Elven Blade or as a spear,
yes.
and both of which have entries as special weapons.
Yes.
Which have special rules attached to them.
Fair.
What do you think in the comments section? Can an Elven Glaive be used as an Elven Blade when spear supporting?
Yes. And
if you've got your rulebook to hand, give us the page reference.
We're not necessarily saying Phaeton, it's just saying if you drew fight, would you get the bonus?
Yeah.
Just the blades there, even though we're using it as a spear.
Yeah. Alright, next up, Peter Holden.
Okay, thanks again, guys. My question for this week is, which Lord of the Rings army are you most looking forward to seeing getting an army special rule, and what do you think it will be? Rohan, again, we've talked about the Glorious Charge a few times with Theoden.
With Theoden, like something like Death, Ride Now, Ride for Ruin. I want to see something with Minas Tirith. I think they should fight harder when their heroes are around. Kind of like the veterans have, which is like an army rule.
Yeah.
It's like +1 fight value if a hero is in combat near them.
Yes.
As they fight to protect the heroes.
For sure.
It'd be cool.
Hobbits need one. They're not very good, are they? So Hobbits could have an army
Just
special rule.
Resistant to magic.
With a +1.
Get out. Army wide fortify.
Oh, imagine.
Would else need something? Just saying.
Yeah. What other army bonuses? Some of the stuff to, as I've said this before, but to encourage older armies to be used. So like if you went for high elves.
Dunland.
Dunland, yeah.
Dunland Berserkers.
Dunland Berserkers.
Right. Comment below, what army rules are you hoping to see for the old Lord of the Rings armies?
Yeah.
I think Durin's folk really need something to bring it back into the fray because they've been...
And the Rangers. Dwarf Rangers.
Dwarf Rangers.
They need a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joran's folk for sure. Because they're like the forgotten dwarves now.
Yeah. Someone says Balrog and fly. Jamie, what did you do? Harry said fly. Someone's commented, there and back again, page 88. An Elven Glaive can be used as either a spear or an Elven Blade, so it can't faint when spear supporting. Yeah,
thank you. Yeah, fair enough.
So Elven Blade or spear means that you can't use it as an Elven Blade when spear supporting.
Yes.
To get the bonus to fight. Old army lists, getting them. Oh, fiefdoms.
Yeah.
Let's get fiefdoms back. Make fiefdoms great again, Alan Troke.
Yes.
Hashtag.
He loves them, doesn't he, as well?
Yeah. They should have some cool rules. Like, I think they used to all treat their heroes as banners, and that just disappeared.
No, only Imrahil, isn't it?
Just Imrahil gets that now.
And the only benefit for the men at arms, Pike, and the normal Dalamroth.
The Knights of
It should be the full army. Yeah. Maybe not the Army of the Dead.
No.
They don't need it.
Army of the Dead. Let's have some heroes for them, or have them like the wargs, so you can just have it. You can have the Army of the Dead.
Allow the 3 hunters maybe to lead them.
Yeah.
And only like a fiefdoms force type thing. That'd be cool. Maybe the King of the Dead a bit better.
Yeah, don't know what it should be, but a rule for the Shire would be cool. I think if you went pure, you gain access to Gandalf in the list, and he can lead hobbits.
Yes.
Or something.
My only other one to talk about, and this is because of you can't find the sheriffs anymore.
Yeah, this is a great idea.
Yeah,
I think this is actually something that Adam Troke and Jay should listen to.
If you're listening, so Cap, you can only take 4 sheriffs, because there only should be 4, but they can maybe count as leading a warband of 6, and the sheriffs will get maybe like 1 might, 1 will, 1 fate. So like mini rangers of the north.
Yeah.
It means hobbits, they're not capped at the heroes that they've got,
Yeah.
and then they could take 6 each, like mini warbands.
Yeah, and you can have Banderbreasts lead your army and not have it be unthemed.
So you can band brass on 12 and then the 4 sheriffs with 6 each.
Yeah.
So you get to 36 models then. Like a nice small points value. That's quite cool.
Yeah. David Murphy says Warriors and Knights of Minas Tirith should get +1 fight and courage if they are within 6 inches of their heroes. I agree.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Pretty sure there were 12 sheriffs before the hobbits left, and then Sharky recruited a bunch more.
Ooh.
I thought there were 4.
I thought
and there was one for each of the boroughs. I'm gonna check this.
Because if it is, they can have 12 warbands of half.
Sheriffs in the Shire.
In Texas.
In Texas. How many sheriffs are there in Texas? A Shire is a traditional term for a division of land. In the
Shire.
LOTR. Sheriffs. The sheriffs, also known as the Watch, were the sole form of law
12,
enforcement. Yeah.
Fair.
There were a total of 12, 3 for each farthing.
Oh,
so there's 4 farthings, 3 in each.
Oh, okay, because that's what it used to feel need to cap myself.
4, yeah.
Okay. But no, maybe not so much that rule. I do like the idea of mini Hobbit heroes. I think sheriffs could be a bit standouts.
Sheriffs carried no arms or armament of any sort and wore no uniform. So they can't have those sticks.
Not even a stunning
Not
club.
even a stunning club.
So good with clubs. Bye, Smaug.
The sheriffs were first headed by the first sheriff.
Ooh.
Who was I love that name, the Mayor of Michael Delving. It's such a weird name for a place. Oh god, what have I clicked on?
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for answering that one then
Yeah.
with the 12 shifts. Ed's gone for 12 shifts as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 4 Fountain Court Guard, yeah.
Yeah, so a couple of questions here. Strength 4, troop options for Gondor to make Fountain Court Guard, Strength 4. Ed Ball confirmed 12 sheriffs. No Strength 4 for men is not good. It's fair, I think. Keep elves and men at Strength 3. For Rohan, most of their mounted warriors and heroes should get the AMA Knight and the Pelennor Devastating Charge rule. I think that's a fair rule, that on the charge they get +1 strength. Except for Sons of Vale, bring them down to Strength 3.
You need to give them some incentive, don't you, for cavalry, because they're so down in the pecking order for cavalry.
Yeah. I also think, potentially for the Westfall Red Shield thing, that only Erkenbrand's warbands should be them, because I don't like that they all just get this benefit across everywhere. Like, surely Erkenbrand's troops are them.
Yeah.
I think that would be a good rule for just general, is that if you can take a hero that upgrades a troop type, only that hero can lead them, just because it stops the whole spamming of...
It just means, oh well, for point extra model, I'll just make my entire army red shield.
Better. Or for Hobbits, Battle and Brandy books are just better for a point more. Strength 2 to Strength 3 is huge.
For a point, you just always take it.
Yeah, so you only take that with what? Merry.
Yes, Merry, and then Pippin can take his fancy
Tuckish hunters.
Oh, they're rubbish, they are.
Fight 3 hunters. How tactical is it in the Hobbit SBG? How tactical is the Hobbit SBG in your opinion? Would you say that one could win over another opponent if they're just good at the game?
Yes.
Yes. Straight up.
List is always in consideration, but I think it's playing experience.
Yeah. So 2 players with an equal list but different skill levels, the good player will near enough always win. Besides dice, because that is a factor.
Yes, and I think the good player knows the scenarios better as well, and because you can absolutely completely destroy an opponent and still lose a game. It's knowing then how to do that, and sometimes you can know if you go against a force and go, okay, they're going to beat me in a fight, but I can still win by taking general, keeping a banner alive, a lot of things like that. I think that's the experienced player considers those options.
Yeah. James Miniature Space come back to us about his Angmar list. He has said, a final pointer on my Angmar, minimum number of warbands I should aim for at 700 to 800 points. Can I get away with 3?
Straight away then you're going to be capped at 39 models.
Yeah.
I suppose you're going to keep small then. If you're then going to do that, fill out your warbands.
Yeah, you'd have to fill it all out. I'm going to go back to the comment section of the video because we've got some more comments in there, and we'll come back to the live stream in a second.
This Thomas Brown, is it?
We did answer that one. Yeah, Thomas Brown. What is the best way to include a casual gamer into a game to make it a 3-player game?
Some scenarios, I think. So
yes.
There's that one in There and Back Again, where in Mirkwood, where you've got the spiders as an army, then there's the elves and the dwarves come in together, but they're the separate players and they treat each other differently. Yeah. That's quite a nice idea, and it's thematic. You can see it from the film's perspective how it should be played out.
Yeah,
it's quite an easy one to do.
Bringing a casual gamer in, I'd say play doubles.
Yeah,
Even if it's just one side plays doubles, then you can talk to them openly about what should happen, and even if they're making the wrong tactical decision, you let them do it, even though you're fully aware that it might cost you the game or whatever, but they're learning from it.
Exactly, and then you're playing for fun then, aren't you, if you're playing with someone like that. The other possible thing is do something like Chaos in Arda.
Yes,
which was used at Nova and used at Ardacon, which is where you have random objectives almost each turn to play for.
Yeah.
And every man for himself. Could work quite well.
I'm going to go back to the live stream because there's quite a lot of comments coming in, and I'll answer them. So you answered James Miniature Space last in there. David Murphy says Riders of Rohan and Captain should get +1 fight when mounted. Seems decent enough, yeah.
Then just eradicate the red
shields. Yeah. Devi says some lists really struggle, but some good players have piloted weaker lists to really good results, like direct missiles mimics. Yeah, very true. Hotgates Gaming, I think did that cut off early? Explain the unified format and how that affects teams and army selection for an event at the WTC at Ardacon. Do you think teams will take the full allowance of players 9 or risk creating smaller teams to try and bypass the unified format? I think you'll see teams of 4 from people who want to compete. You'll have effectively Team Knots 1, Team Knots 2, just so they get full access to all the heroes they want, because you get Saruman the White in 1, Saruman the White in Team 2. Saruman's going to be there. Same with Legolas, same with Undying, same with Floy, all those heroes that you want in your lists.
Agree.
I think there will be teams. I think Wanderers, we're sticking to the full 9.
We were going to stay with 8, weren't we?
With 8.
We're going to stay with the original. Me drop out.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a variation. You might then see more and more teams.
Yeah.
And you can see then a variation of which teams they want to go, because they've got a team of players and this is how many they've got, and they just want to play and they're happy to vary. Whereas you got your power gamers, and I think as James says, we'll stick in those smaller teams to maximise their lists.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely see that. David Murphy says for fiefdoms, Imrahil's rule could affect your entire army, including heroes, and the battlefield banner from own hero. That's good.
Oh. Battlefield banner. Yeah.
#Fight5 Dartmouth Captains.
Yeah, for sure.
100% agreed there. It's always felt like a misprint.
Yeah.
Mistype. I think elves should get some kind of move bonus, and then people saying that they've got woodland creature, so they get that, and Noldorian elves get 8 inches.
Agree. Yeah.
Then Hotgates Gaming James is saying even though that means they may risk playing each other, I think that's something that you would take the risk on, because you eventually break down into your Team Knots 1, and you might see some collusion potentially, because you're going for, do we want Team Knots to be the winners, or say that Wanderers 1, Wanderers 2, we want Wanderers to go ahead and win this, so will we just sort of pull our punches a little bit to allow the team with the most chance to go off and be the victors?
Which is something you obviously would not too want to see, because you want to see fair game and you don't want to see games being adjusted. But I still think then they're going to balance out what gives them the greater chance. If we split and go to 2 teams of 4, but we have a considerably stronger 4, that even if they then played the second 4, they've got a chance of beating them.
Yeah.
As opposed to having a team of 8 with slightly weakened lists, some of them, with the chance to, not play each other, but you still, because there's still plenty of tough players to play there anyway.
Also, you get that, you can have that thing where if the teams work together, one team can be a buffer and the other, so sort of like in cycling where one person stays behind and shoots ahead. They can do that for each other, where Team Knots, I'm using Team Knots because they are hyper competitive, and I think they are going with 2 teams this year, where Team Knots 1 is dominating, so Team Knots 2's job is to snipe anybody coming up near them.
That's a good tap. Yeah. James, from your perspective, if you're still watching, do you think having more teams, smaller amounts in the teams, will make your job easier or harder in terms of having to avoid matchups?
Yeah, good question.
You've got in terms of teams of 8, more chance of them playing each other. If it's teams of 4, maybe, and then be more separated in the standings. Do you think that makes it easier or harder?
Yeah. Debbie says Chester is running 2 teams, a competitive team with 5 players currently, and a team going just for fun. I think you see quite a lot of that as well. The players who want to just chill out for the weekend and not be forced into being competitive.
Very much so, and especially for Chester, because I know that a lot of their players are coming for the first time to Ardacon. You don't want to then not enjoy yourself by maybe going at the competitive end and feel pressured by the rest of your team. I think that's a really good mix
Yeah.
The 5 that feel comfortable to really go for it can do it, and then everyone else can go for the experience and have fun and see how they get on.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you finish up the table as a team, it's a bonus.
Yeah. Going back to the YouTube comments from last episode, we've got one from Karagul. He says, "Hi guys, first of all, thanks for the great content. My first time in the loop after having followed all the last few episodes. Here's an 800 point list for an upcoming tournament, trying to make it as competitive as possible. Now, we have seen 72 800 point lists recently, so we're pretty hot on what is decent at 800 points right now. So, Karagul has 61 points left that he just doesn't quite know what to do with. They'll be playing 3 randomly selected missions from the new Games Workshop tournament missions, and I assume that means when this went out 1 week ago, that was the Grand Tournament missions, because they've recently released a bunch from is it called Games Fest?
Yeah,
I can't think of the proper name.
Fest thing, Coventry one.
Yeah. So, list so far, Kyrian with 8 Warriors of Minas Tirith and 4 Rangers. I'm going to assume these have got shields and spears on the Rangers, because that makes sense. Madril, 8 and 4. Baragon, 8 and 4. Damrod as the general, hides in a forest. I have Baragon as the general. 8 Warriors of Minas Tirith, 4 Rangers. And Erkenbrand with 6 red shields.
So you got your plus bonus from the courage for Erkenbrand for the army. You've got a decent amount of shooting. 16, 18, 19 shots. 18 shots. 19 shots.
16, 17, 18, 19.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
25.
25 shots. So shooting is very good. You've got a decent amount of defence 6, lots of spares, quite a bit of fight 4 as well.
Yeah.
Madril with a +1 to come on. Make sure you have to bring on Madril first to benefit the army.
Yeah.
And 61 points short.
From 800 points. Now, what's the army missing at 800 points? Is missing any sort of magic or real combat threat. It's sort of a big horde, but it doesn't have much punch to it, because they're all fight 3 besides the Rangers.
Yeah.
And the red shields, obviously. So maybe some Sons of Ale into your red shields warband, just to give you a bit of punch around the line where your heroes aren't, to help out there.
Yeah. Maybe some Fountain Court, but then I think all the Gondor warbands are full.
Yeah, you could spend those points to increase Warriors of Minas Tirith up to
say some
Fountain Court guard.
Because a few of them defense 7 are pretty handy.
Yeah, I think Damrod as your general is a weak choice. Simply because, yes, he hides in a forest and he's got woodland creature because he's from Ethelian, but he has 1 wound, 1 fate, 1 might. Somebody can...
Lucky arrow get him.
Legolas puts an arrow into him, spends his might to do it. It's, you've got 1 in 3 chance of your general just straight up dying.
Yeah.
If you're going to do that with one, because I understand I wanted Kyrian and Madril in the fight with their 3 might and 2 attacks.
Yeah.
Baragond would be the better choice, because he's bodyguarded, so you don't need to worry about courage tests, and he's defense 6, so it's at least a little bit harder to shoot at someone. But still, I think they're the wrong choices for general. Maybe you could increase Kyrian up to Faramir with those 61 points, and then he's a good general for you.
Yeah. Or the other thing that what people have done also, what Dave Nolan did, is when dropping Denethor.
Yep.
With a little warband, maybe in Denethor and 4 Fountain Court as a final one,
yeah.
And then keep Denethor lying down.
Hidden behind a building, yeah.
Yeah, because he's still in his 2 wounds as a general.
He goes up to courage 7.
Yeah, so he's not.
With
He's not
3
really
will, so he's not going to run away.
And
if he's not near your troops, you can't go killing them. So.
Yeah.
I think that could be a good shout.
So, what are his thoughts for upgrading? So,
what was his name? Karagul was thinking of upgrading 6 or 7 Warriors of Minas Tirith to Fountain Court, give one of them a banner. The chief idea here is to take Eowyn and basically give Erkenbrand's contingent 2 extra might. Another thought was adding 3 more red shields, and I suppose you could always drop the banner and have 86 points to play with. You got banner in there? You must have a banner in there.
Yeah, banner.
Banner.
I think banner's always worth it,
yeah,
especially
keep
in the new scenarios. Yeah, just the reroll and the 3 VPs from it.
Yeah, I think if you've got Faramir available to you, put him in instead of probably Kyrian out of all of them. With your 61 points, he's 55 base, so you could get 110 point Faramir, which is 70. So you get him horse armor, lance, shield, heavy armor, the works.
Yeah, he'd be strong. He says, as an extra comment, by the way, the options can be from other sources too, not necessarily from Gondoran. And I think it's fair. It's always good to add extra stuff in, but 61 points is not really enough to bring anyone. Except
a full warband hobbits.
Yeah, and you've got numbers there. It's not helping the cause of toughness. I think hobbits would make it a bit easier to break.
And the final question from the YouTube comments before we jump back into the live stream is from David.
Just David.
You want to go over it?
Yeah, go for it. So, what do you guys think of the new scenarios that were revealed from Warhammer Fest?
I'm going to get these up because I'm glad someone's answered this question.
You personally like that they brought back some of the old classics and are breathing some fresh air into points matches. I agree. Jamie briefly mentioned them to me earlier because I know. So there's things like Contest of Champions, there's Ill Lit by Moonlight. So these are all scenarios that used back in the day. They were great fun, albeit they all had their own flaws to a degree.
Alright, so here we go. We've got them here. Ill Met by Moonlight. Starting positions. The player with the highest result chooses deployment zones. They select a warband and deploy within 12 inches of their board edge. Models may not be deployed further than 6 inches from its warband captain. You alternate. So you deploy wholly within 12 inches of your board edge. So you've got 24 inches between you. Now I remember in the old rules you would set up half your army in the middle and half at the the board edge.
Yeah, that's right.
Because all those prowlers and wood elves with throwing daggers.
Yes, because they are army special, which we'll come to.
Yeah. So we'll do the special rules and then we'll do the victory points because the special rule is key for this scenario. It's brilliant. The Dark of Night. Due to reduced visibility, models cannot be targeted by shooting, magical powers or special abilities over 12 inches away. However, as it is much harder to avoid a shot in the dark, all shooting attacks gain a bonus of +1 when rolling to wound. Siege engines may still target enemies more than 12 inches away. However, in this situation, they will only ever hit on the roll of a 6. +1 to wound on throwing daggers.
Throwing stones.
Think
of that. 60 hobbits.
Blowpipes.
Oh, throwing daggers. All the thing. Oh, it's massive. That. It's
Elven
massive.
shooting crossbows.
Ooh, crossbows.
Take that, Iron Hills.
Yeah.
5 to wound again. Do one.
That's pretty brutal, and I think it makes a continuous priority roll if you've got throwing weapons really important.
Crossbow. Ends at 25%.
Yeah.
1
and 2 for leader.
Yeah.
3 and 5 for breaking.
Yeah.
And then 3 and 3 once you have at least 1 hero remaining at the end of the game. If you have at least 1 hero remaining and your opponent has none, then you score at least 5. Oh, that's big.
That's huge.
It's wild.
You would assume both would have at least 1 hero remaining at the end of the game. It's very rare that you get down to 25% and there are no heroes.
Yeah, for sure.
Shoot them.
Well, that's it. Oh god! And if you're evil, shoot to combat.
Yeah.
God, the damage to wound. +1 to wound is grim. Oh no.
Seize the prize. Let's hope this is better.
Oh,
so deployment is within 12 inches of your board edge, and the prize is in the middle. Ends at 25%. The game lasts until either a model carrying the artifact carries it off the board edge via their opponent's board edge, or forces have been reduced to 25% of their quarter, or both forces have been reduced to 25%. Different change there, not just one. At which point the game ends. You score 3 victory points if one of your models is carrying the artifact within your own board half, 5 victory points if you get it off if it's in the opponent's board half, and 7 if you get it off the opponent's board edge. 1 and 2 for wounding and killing the enemy general, and 1 and 3 for breaking and unbroken.
So if you've got the prize in either half, you're scoring almost 3 or 5. Yeah. Where you can then combat that as if you break in general, and then you can draw if they've got it in the opponent's half.
Let's read the artifact special rules. Only a model on foot who is in base contact with the artifact marker at the end of its move may attempt to free it. On the roll of a 4+, the artifact has been freed and counts as a light object. Might cannot be used to influence this roll. Only one model may attempt, so you can pass it on still.
Anyone may attempt to pick it up from each side. So it's very similar to how it was.
Yeah, I'm still not a fan.
And I just always find this scenarios if your opponent's got the prize,
you're at such a disadvantage.
You're very much chasing the game. There was at one point where you could still win, because you get the 3 and 3 from breaking in general.
Yeah.
Just
in some customs, but yeah,
this means game over very quickly. I just think at times if you both get there, I've won the roll up, I'm going to go and stand over it. Even if I've not picked it up, you've now got to get through my entire army to pick it up.
Yeah, we had that game where we lost the prize.
You just went missing, didn't it?
Just couldn't find it at all. We ended up drawing.
Yeah. You win that thing.
Yeah, it is. What's this one? Contest of Champions!
Ooh.
This is one of my favourite scenarios from the old. I'm looking forward to seeing what the rules are, because I imagine it because it used to have a problem where you would just shoot everything.
The general.
Kill the enemy general, and then your general kills one, and you're like, that's game.
Yeah.
And I remember back at the old GTs where this was normally like one of the first scenarios to come up, and you'd play against a new player, and they'd have their general on the front rank,
Yes.
and you'd have your 24 elf bowman, like, I was just shoot your general.
Yeah.
Kill him, and then Legolas.
Gets his one shot.
Good game.
Should we go for a pint?
Yeah. Alright, so deployment is 1, 2, 3 within 12 inches of the centre line, 4, 5, 6 anywhere in your board half. Models may not be placed within 1 inch of an enemy model, regardless of the dice roll. Models may not be deployed further than 6 inches of the captain. Players alternate until all warbands are placed. The game lasts until one force has been reduced to 25% of its starting number or below. Keep account of how many kills your leader scores in combat throughout the course of the battle. Note kills caused by shooting, magical powers, or hurl brutal power attack do not count towards your leader's scores. You score 3 VPs if your leader's killed more. You score...
Because more is 5. Triple is
5 if you score double, 7 if you score triple, and 1, 2, and 3 count as 1.
Yes.
Single, double, triple.
Yeah.
And 3 to 5 for being broken.
And then special.
Oh, last stand. Each time either leader kills a hero or multi-win model, they regain a point of might spent earlier in the battle.
That used to have that rule. Can't remember.
No, I don't think so.
That's quite cool. It's a bit like
good.
Contest of Champions in a way. So if you're brave enough to get your hero
It's called Contest of Champions.
Yes, I think that's fair. if you're brave enough to get your hero to combat another hero, then it's the incentive is to gain might back.
Yeah.
It's cool. Yeah, I think it's always a fun one. It encourages people
fun.
to take a big general.
Yeah, it's like you want a combat hero to be a general because...
Is it combat kills?
Combat kills it was, yeah.
So no blasts?
No blasts, no shooting, no hurls.
No hurls, good.
Yeah, so got to just go in and
hurls kept
strike them. Yeah. No, the hurls just said no from the hurl brutal power attack.
Oh, sorry, right, okay.
Good. Next one is capture and control. So the outline of the scenario is control areas of the battlefield and deny them to your foe. Starting positions are 1, 2, 3, the centre 12, 4, 5, 6, your board half. There are objectives out on the board, 3 on the centre line and 2 12 inches behind the centre middle. So sort of like a
bit of a star, a plus sign.
You score 2 VPs for each objective that marker that is under your control at the end of the game. You score 1 VP for causing 1 or more wounds on the enemy general. If you kill them, it's still 1. And 1 VP if the enemy force is broken at the end of the game. So it's all about the 5 objectives.
So it's like a fixed domination, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you don't randomise where you put them, and you put them in as
a set
thing.
place.
So they're all across the middle, really.
Yeah.
So you can't just shoot, but stand your own board edge and shoot. You need to get in the faces.
Controlling objectives. At the start of the game, all of the objectives are considered to be neutral and do not belong to either side. If during the end phase of any turn, 1 or more models is in base contact with an objective, then that objective comes under your control. If during the end phase both sides have models in base contact with an objective, then that objective returns to being neutral. So once you've got control of one, you can move on.
That's good, interesting.
And that just stays with you.
So you bank your own at the back of the board, and you move
push forwards.
That's cool.
I like it.
So it's not. I think that benefits evil because sometimes in domination you hold your back objectives, then you break.
Yeah.
You hold them for most of the game, and then your last turn you run away because of courage.
Yeah. Whereas with this one, you control it and push forwards hard to go over the objectives, get them under your control, and push forwards for theirs.
I like that. I think that's
cool. I like it.
It's a nice variation to domination. Because domination's always got lots to play for. I think there's a lot of variance to it. And I think that one balances out the Elite by Moonlight. So it's not just benefit from taking a pure shooty. This one means you need to get in faces. Throwing weapons could work well for both though.
Yeah. Getting right up there.
Yeah.
The Fog of War. This is a bit of a wordy one. So, players start up 12 inches on the board. What's the scenario outline? Outwit your opponent by concealing your true objective. This sounds like the old Battle Brothers things. Into it. Let's have a look. 12 inches from your board edge. The game lasts until a turn in which one force is reduced to 25% of its starting numbers or below. At the start of the game, secretly note down one of your heroes. This may not be your leader unless you have only one hero. You score 1 victory point if the nominated hero is still alive at the end of the game. If the nominated hero is still alive and has suffered no wounds, you instead score 3 victory points. At the start of the game, secretly note down one of your opponent's heroes. You score 1 victory point for causing 1 or more wounds on the nominated hero, and 3 victory points if you kill that hero. At the start of the game, secretly note down 1 single terrain piece in your opponent's half of the board. You score 1 victory point if at the end of the game you have more models than your opponent completely within your selected terrain piece. If your opponent has no models completely within your selected terrain piece, and you have at least one, you instead score 3 victory points. And finally, it's 1 and 3 for breaking.
Cool.
Oh, Goblin Mercenary all day.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'll keep my Goblin Mercenary captain alive. I'll capture that terrain piece.
That's cool. I like that. That's a nice variation of the scenario. It's not one that I've really seen before, other than like the old battle cards, like mission objectives. Special rules?
Keep it secret, keep it safe. At the start of the game, both players must write down which objectives they are trying to accomplish on a piece of paper and fold it in half. The 2 pieces of paper must then be placed somewhere next to the playing area that both players can easily see, but so that the information contained cannot be seen. Partially under your rules manual is a good place. These pieces of paper should remain untouched for the entire game until the end, when they are revealed. And designer's notes, in this scenario you should not reveal to your opponent any objectives, even if you successfully complete them during the game. Part of the skill of the scenario is trying to work out what your opponent is trying to accomplish, while simultaneously trying to mislead them into thinking that you are trying to accomplish something that you want.
I like that element. I think it's cool.
That's cool.
Because it takes out a random element, and it's something you can strategize. You can also bluff quite well.
Yes, I think if you kill like Fatty Ball, you're like, yes!
But it's not him.
I still want to kill him.
Yeah. It reminds me a little bit of the one that the Cardiff lads did when it was the domination,
but on terrain pieces.
Yes,
and they had
were
victory point reverse.
Yes. So you could go and capture them, and you could see how much it was worth, and then bluff your opponent whether you wanted to go and get more and whatnot. Yeah. Which is cool. I like that.
And finally, storm the camp. It looks like a change on the classic. Oust the enemy from their camp whilst holding on to yours. Starting players. Both players roll a d6. The player who scored higher must choose one of the 4 table corners as their camp. They then deploy their army, including any siege engines, entirely within 12 inches of their chosen table corner. Any models that cannot be deployed within 12 inches of the chosen corner will move on to the board via the controlling player's corner at the end of the first move phase. Their opponent then sets up their army entirely within 12 inches of the corner diagonally opposite. The game lasts until a turn in which one force has been reduced to 25% of its starting number or below. You get 3 victory points if your force managed to capture your opponent's camp. If your force managed to capture the opponent's camp and yours is not captured, you instead gain 6 VPs. That's half there. You score 1 VP for wounding, 3 VPs for killing the enemy general, and broken is there as well. So 1 and 3 for that. Special rules: the campsite. The campsites are the deployment areas of the 2 armies. A campsite is captured if during the end phase of any turn you have more models entirely within your opponent's campsite than they do. Models that are within their own campsite will defend it at all costs. Any model that is within its own campsite at the start of a turn will automatically pass any courage test it's required to make for the remainder of the turn. So you can't pull them out with spectres, and you can leave your 24 goblin bowmen to defend.
Cool, I like it. It's always a good scenario, I think, still in the camp.
Yeah, I like the change from, if you remember it from Legions of Middle-earth, it used to be the game would end when you finish a turn with more models in your opponent.
Oh yes, of course.
And you'd have that horrible thing where the Spider Queen pops 3 broodlings out. You're like, I now have more.
Yes.
And I'm not going to fight you, and you've moved.
Fair point.
Good game.
It's cool. That's a good scenario. I know these are nice changes. I think it's a good set of scenarios, and they all seem quite balanced. And you need to have a varied force, I think, if you want to combat them all.
Yep. So I saw quite a lot of comments coming up during the time that we were doing that. So let's head back to the...
So that's the last one, so we're going to go all these now, can't we?
So we finished the YouTube comments. We're going to go through the live stream stuff. Hoggates Gaming, thoughts on the Drowned Earth? So have you seen the Drowned Earth Kickstarter?
I haven't looked at it yet, and I've seen that they were running some games this week.
Yes, they were at Salute. I was down there with Steam Forge, and I managed to go by the stand, and it looked fantastic. I believe it's just surpassed 25,000 on Kickstarter.
Wow.
So they are doing really well, and they are only about a week and a half into, or 2 weeks into their campaign. So they've got a long way to go, and I am so thrilled for Baldwin and all his playtest team that have made the game a success. Hopefully it will continue to strive after the Kickstarter in retail, and we'll see it as a game in the future. I have backed for 2 teams, and I'm hoping Baldwin, because I did a D&D sort of style thing with him for the Drowned Earth to get an idea of what the game's like, and I had I had a Berenge, which is like one of the large gorilla models. Right. And during the D&D session, I found a banana costume. So I was a gorilla walking around a banana suit in this world. I'm really hoping that I get a model cool. or conversion or something, which would just be amazing.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, really cool game. Based on sort of free running in a post-apocalyptic world where vegetation's come back and there are new races, and it's sort of that post-apocalyptic where the events happened and it's now like 100 years after.
I see.
And so like the world's regaining itself.
Cool. I like the idea.
Devi says, not looking forward to playing Contest of Champions at a Shadow in the East with Frodo of the Nine Fingers, who can't strike.
I'm in the exact same boat because that's who my leader is. Oh, you can kill though. I know you can't. It's combat kills. You can't even throw stones. I was just thinking, right, gonna mobilise him. Well, I'm not gonna mobilise him. Throw stones.
No.
That
So
won't
Frodo
work.
the Nine Finger, who can't make strikes, is a terrible general for Contest of Champions.
Yeah, but if you're going for theme, it's all that matters.
Yeah. Just throw all the stones at the enemy's general.
Yeah.
Don't let him kill anyone.
Play for the draw. Well,
And then break them.
Yeah, then break them.
That's what you gotta do. How to
No
play with a
problem.
handicap.
Yeah.
Just chatter about the.
Yeah, Shadow Easters and events. Yeah, it's here.
Can't wait for the Drowned Earth. Hoping to back the Kickstarter soon. Get on it. Bradley Cobden. And finally there, Devas Castellan reminds me of the schemes in Malifaux, but without the option to reveal them to your opponent for extra VPs. Yes, very true. I've not played Malifaux. I've read the rules briefly, but yeah, very similar to schemes for the Fog of War. So.
Oh, I see.
What do you guys think about the list restrictions at a Shadow of the East Midlands? I've had a lot of trouble making it, just coming from Devi. I don't know what the restrictions are.
So there's not necessarily, this is Dan and Sam's one.
Oh,
so
right,
the first day you play 4 games at 400 points.
Yep.
And each game your opponent votes your army and score 1 to 10 on theme rating.
Yeah, and you get a multiplier based on your average.
So straight away
score.
that wants to restrict you because you want to try and get that bonus. So that's
big
massive.
10, yeah.
That's massive. So even things like me as a Hobbit player.
Yeah.
Yes. So
minimum
2 warbands, at least 3 non-hero models.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I think it's a nice change because it's an 80-pointer event. I think it's a good opportunity to think outside the box and go for different things. So I'm going pure hobbits, going Merry Pippin, Frodo, and Sam.
Yeah.
So I'm deliberately not taking brandy books and not taking things like that. So it's still a decent sized force, but they are handicaps in there. But other than things like contest, I still think I'm going to have fun with it. It shouldn't be too restricting. And then apparently the same system is working on the second day. So when you partner up at 350 points, and you also get the same
theme bonus.
Yeah, so you need to be then conscious of who you theme with, I suppose. Well, suppose you can have a theme with a party you've already planned, or you can go into a pot.
Oh, okay.
So I imagine then for the theme rating, it's going to be on an individual army.
You're running the exact same list Debbie's come up with.
Good man. And Fatty and Lobelia as well to make up those points. And a hornblower.
Yeah.
So we don't play each other. Can we play each other at contest? Because then we can do Frodo on Frodo, slap each other and no wounds.
Yep.
So yes, on the second day, I think it'll be your individual armies, because it's not your fault if you get randomised with someone else and the armies are not compatible.
Yeah.
You shouldn't then be hindered on your theme.
No, yeah, I guess that's fair.
And it's nice because I think there's so many 100-pointers where themes out the window. On a personal note, you want to go competitive.
Yeah.
Whereas on the events where you actually really want to go that way, but I still want to play with something I enjoy and still reasonably strong, I think 50 hobbits is pretty good for 100 points.
Finally, I think we'll say David Murphy's last comment, and we'll round it off because we've just gone over the hour mark. Special rule suggestion for Theoden: once per game, Theoden can shout death in the following fight phase. If Theoden charges, you must shout it you can shout death in the movement phase. In the following fight phase, if Theoden charges and is mounted, then he and all friendly Rohan cavalry models that have charged can call a heroic combat. I
like the idea of that because that's how you see it in films.
Yeah.
They run through, don't they? Should be able to move again.
Yeah.
I just think with cavalry, it gives them a way of moving 20 inches in a turn.
Yeah.
I think that part of it could be too much for normal troops.
Yeah.
In your heroic combat, sure, they can still move on. But just the idea of troops moving 10, charging, and then moving on a 10 to run off to objectives.
Yeah.
Maybe they can only do it if they have to charge again.
Yeah.
Maybe something like that.
Yes. You must charge the closest enemy model or something.
Yes. The idea is you're punching through. You're going on with your charge. You're not doing it to then game it and go somewhere else.
Something like impact hits to represent that they just the fact that the horses are just running down troops. They're not actually fighting them. They're just running through them. Make strikes against spear supports if they win the fight. Possibly. If you wanted to avoid the front rank. interesting discussion. I think we're going to wrap it up there because it's getting on now. Thank you all for taking part in the live stream element of it, and thank you all for commenting. If you've missed the live stream, please do comment again. Next weekend we will be at the ETC in Germany, so we will not be doing this from there. We will have sort of live streams going on throughout the event where we'll be doing some Facebook Live stuff over on the GBHL podcast Facebook page and in the Great British Hobbit League community page. So keep an eye out for them. But as ever, guys, thank you for watching and listening. Be sure to comment, like, share and subscribe.
Support the Hobbit host in the links below.
Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Support your Hobbit hobby.
And happy strategy battle gaming, everybody.
Come on, England! Come on, England!
Are you sure you want to stop streaming?
Goodbye.
Yes.